The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Oh, man, hope everybody had a good week. Anyway, listen, a couple things today, and it's going to be kind of a shorter episode, but yeah, I had one friend ask me, he was like, why don't you talk at all about the Trump trial? And I was like, honestly, I'm just not even that interested in that. I'm really not, I mean, again, for the record, I think it's kind of ridiculous. I think the entire thing is more politically motivated than anything else against him. I do. But overall, again, I'm just not really that interested in it. And then the entire trial really revolves around this Michael Cohen guy who's Trump's ex-lawyer. And, basically their main witness in terms of saying, Trump did authorize the payment to Stormy Daniels or whatever. And this is funny. So they ended his 17 hours of testimony, and he wrapped up the testimony with admission that he stole $60,000 from the Trump organization for a payment he made on Trump's behalf to a tech company. But again, he stole $60,000 from the Trump organization. So analysts say this, and I quote, could potentially damage his standing with the jury. That's in the Associated Press. So he stole $60,000, and the way they referred to that is, quote, could potentially damage his standing with the jury. Oh, my God. Anyway, it goes on to say prosecutors have used Cohen to try to convince jurors that Trump falsified business documents to cover up a payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election, which they claim impacted the outcome. I mean, anyway, the reason I don't talk about that is I just not interested in that stuff. So, but I'll tell you what I am interested in is talking a little tech and talking a little AI. It's been a minute since we've talked about kind of some of the new changes and some of the new things that are out. And I will tell you, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you have not even tried out ChatGPT at all, the product from OpenAI, you really need to do that. And again, I'm not even saying that out of oh, it's super cool, you can blah, blah, blah. It's more that, you don't want to get left behind with this revolution. And I'm talking about your career moving forward and jobs and business opportunities and really skill sets, more than anything, skill sets of understanding this AI world. And it really can start with ChatGPT. And like I've said before, it's pretty easy, guys. It really is. It's not a difficult, the back end is insane, I'm sure. And the way it processes questions and delivers results and in lightning fast speed is incredible, absolutely incredible. But on the front end, they have made the user experience incredibly easy and incredibly simple. And it's really your keyboard and a prompt, and you basically just prompt in whatever you want. So anyway, a lot of moves with ChatGPT. They're coming out with this 4o version, and I highly recommend, if you have not remotely tried it, carve out 30 minutes and just go to, I think it's openai.ai or something. Just type in ChatGPT in your Google, it'll come up. Create an account and, start doing stuff, start poking around a little bit and seeing what it can do. I'll give you a great example of really what I use it the most for. And that's writing these descriptions underneath each of my podcast episodes. So when I upload an episode into this software called Auphonic, where basically it kind of, normalizes the volumes and levels everything out. It's like a mastering software. What's cool about that is it then delivers me a transcript. I click a button and I get the actual word transcript. I copy that entire transcript. I mean, again, just copying the transcript. I take it into ChatGPT, and then I've built out my own GPT that basically gives me all the parameters I want included in these episode descriptions. And I just copy and paste it directly into that GPT. And within, 45 seconds, it spits out my episode description, my title, all of that stuff, links to my social media. And then that's what I post underneath and in relation to every episode. And then that's the text that shows up. Like if you, depending on where you're listening to this, if you go look at, the text part, that stuff is all written by ChatGPT. And honestly, the only thing I normally change is the title. I do change the title to try and include kind of the key people that maybe are in this episode. But overall, I'm not even kidding. Sometimes I don't even read it anymore. I literally don't even read it anymore. I just copy and paste it and it's there and it's formatted properly. And I mean, that saves me, honestly, that probably saves 20 to 30 minutes every time I create a podcast, because otherwise I would have to type out, this description under each episode myself. And again, there's no way I would do it as thoroughly as that does it. And it would be, definitely a cumbersome process. So anyway, just again, check out ChatGPT. If you need any help with that, please reach out to me. I can absolutely get you up and running, super quick. And we could even do some things together and make you comfortable with it. I'm telling you, it's really good. It's really good and incredibly useful. And they have a great app on for the phone now. So it's really useful. It really is. All right, moving on. The other thing I do want to talk about today is I want to really, this has been a consistent theme with me, and that's really stressing the importance of getting out there and moving and counting your steps and walking and all that stuff. It's been a minute since we've done a dedicated Deep Shallow Dive health episode, but, I did and it's getting edited, but I did my interview with Wendy Cole, whom I mentioned, and she's going to be one of the first guests I bring on. And, Wendy, this is crazy to me. Wendy is 70 years old. She's transgender. She used to be Larry Cole, and now she's Wendy Cole. And she did that at the age of 67. Seriously. I think I've said it before, or maybe I said it during the interview, but I don't even think people pick up new hobbies at 67, but she full on had this sexual reassignment surgery at 67. But one of the things that we talked about during the interview, and I'm just gonna mention it, is that her personal unhappiness with herself led to a ton of health issues for her, including gaining of 70 pounds. Her blood work was a mess, and this was when she was a man. This was when she was Larry, and it really proves the mind-body connection when it comes to our health. And it also really, cements the fact that, when you are upset and depressed and when you are not in a happy place, that stuff wreaks havoc on your health. It absolutely does. I experience that myself. There's times when I'm stressed, I literally feel like a burning sensation roll down my back. I'm not even kidding. Or I'll get pain in a certain part of my body where there should be no pain. I'll wake up and my elbow is ridiculously sore. And there's no reason for that. And so a lot of that stuff, and Wendy's case in particular, really, really cemented that mind-body connection. But then the other thing she talked about was, after she had her surgery, and again, I don't want to ruin too much of the episode, but after she had her surgery and kind of, went through her process, and when she became happy as Wendy, The weight started falling off. She embraced walking into her life, like got joy out of that. And long story short, she lost 70 pounds, changed all her blood work to where it took her off a bunch of medicines. Anyway, I just think that's a very powerful reminder of, just how important it is to get out there and move. And obviously we're going into the summer. So, hopefully weather is not a factor for the next few months. And, again, I highly recommend everybody, whether it's walking your dog in the morning or just overall starting your day off with not only some small joy, which I talk about in the book, but also starting your day off with some type of movement if you can. If you can go out for a 15, 20-minute walk, that's my routine. My routine is really doing probably a close to a 30-minute walk most mornings from 6:45 to 7:15 or 7:30, something like that. So anyway, highly recommend that. And I did want to revisit that. Again, lastly on that, I absolutely am a huge fan of either getting a Fitbit or some type of tracking device, not your phone. I really don't believe in the phone as the way to count the steps. I just don't think you're carrying your phone at all times. And if you are, that's pretty weird. But I also just don't find it as accurate. I really don't. So again, whether it's a Fitbit, Apple Watch, whatever, pedometer, I think that's what that thing is called. I mean, that's kind of weird. I don't think most people want to have that little thing on them. But, some type of tracking device. Again, my go-to is my Fitbit. I mean, I do have the Apple Watch as well, which I wear on my left wrist. I wear my Fitbit on the right wrist. I know it looks ridiculous. I don't care. But I like the Fitbit more. I mean, when it comes to tracking my steps and tracking my sleep, I really do like the Fitbit more. I think it's more accurate. And, again, I highly recommend it. You can get a base version, I think for $50, maybe it might be $100, something like that. But again, like I said, the cognizance of how many steps you're taking more than anything has a psychological impact for you and with you. And again, I'm serious. I literally, when I go anywhere, I park as far away as I can. That's nice for the car. It hopefully doesn't get dinged by any knuckleheads. But also, it just makes me walk even that much more. So anyway, again, just wanted to kind of reinforce the fitness talk and the step count and walking and all that. It's been a minute since we've had a deep shallow dive health episode. I'll try to put one of those out hopefully here, maybe next week or the week after, and look at something that I've meant to talk about but haven't yet. All right, last thing for today. And again, I wanted to kind of end this week on somewhat of a lighter note and just have some real talk, as I like to say. But, there's a lot going on. There continues to be a lot going on, and it's going to get worse. It has to get worse. And the reason being, because we're headed toward this election. We really are. And, as I've mentioned so many times, I know there's new people listening, so bear with me for all you dedicated previous listeners. Let me just repeat this for them. But, all of this for me started in March of 2020, with COVID happening. And again, it's not about good or bad. It's just, it kind of woke me up to things, and it woke me up to paying attention. Paying attention. That's the best way to think about it. Not controversial. It's not political. It's not anything. It's just paying attention. So let me read you this excerpt in the book, because actually somebody sent me the excerpt and was like, dude, I really like this. And it basically says, my experience, which started in March 2020, taught me the importance of not accepting things at face value, rather questioning them and having the courage to confront the potentially uncomfortable truths, even when they challenge the narratives presented by authorities or the mainstream that I had been trained to trust naturally. I'm telling you, this is not bad. It's not. It all comes from a good place, a place of common sense and seeking clarity and understanding. It also should not be controversial. Remember what Steve Jobs said? Well, that applies here as well. And basically that kind of was quoting, I had previously mentioned, that one quote from Steve Jobs, which I've talked about several times, where he's like, hey, everything that you call life is created by somebody no smarter than you. I mean, seriously, this microphone that I'm talking in right now, GarageBand editing software, although maybe these people are smarter than me because they created this stuff. But the point is, everything that you call life, that coffee you're drinking was cultivated by somebody. Everything was created by other human beings, whom, again, fundamentally are no smarter than you. They just took the initiative to follow their passion or create something that they wanted to create or do something that they want to do, And so the point of the Steve Jobs quote, and then really the point of that excerpt from the book that I just read you, is that, it's okay to question things. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. You're not doing that from a bad place. You're not doing that from a negative place. Fundamentally, because everything that we enjoy in this world was created by other human beings, that means all of the news and narratives and everything that currently is going on is being created by other human beings. And it's okay to question that. It's okay to seek clarity on that. It's okay to ask questions. That's my big one. Anytime I start a discussion with somebody on, whether it's on politics or whether it's on geopolitics or whether it's on what's going on in Gaza or anything, if I start asking questions and they immediately get defensive and immediately, in a few cases, get mad and get negative, that's my first sign that they're not really allowing themselves to be open and take in all the data. And quite frankly, they're probably not critically thinking for themselves. They're probably listening to whomever they think is the expert. I shudder to say that word sometimes, but whom is the resource for them. And I see this a lot with, it's funny. I see this a lot more with my Republican friends. Like, I have conversations with some folks whom just take anything they hear on Fox as gospel. And I'm just like, you can't do that. You can't do that across the board, whether it's Fox or MSNBC or whatever. You cannot simply take the side of, these political pundits, because they all have agendas and they all work for somebody else or work for a corporation that has an agenda. Or even if they're independent, they're all of the independent, newsmakers, they have to earn a living. And so they are trying to give their audience what they want to hear. So anyway, my point of all that is, again, we are all smart human beings. And even if you're not ridiculously well versed on geopolitics or anything, just DSD it, deep shallow dive it, seriously. And if there's anything that confuses you, reach out to me and we can think through it together. But fundamentally, I really want to leave today's episode with, just again, a little call to arms, a call to action. And that is, don't feel bad about questioning things. Don't feel bad about asking questions, about trying to seek clarity, and quite frankly, going against, maybe the sources that up until now you've really believed. Because that's kind of what's happened to me. It really is. I went through a period where I really kind of agreed with everything a entire group of people said. And now I don't anymore, because I'm like, oh God, I don't really like that. I don't agree with that. And now I realized that I need to just treat everything as a separate take. And it's okay to agree with someone one day and not agree with them the next, or agree with them on one topic and not agree with them on the other topic. Anyway, that's it. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Get out there, get your steps in, enjoy time with your family, enjoy time with your friends, have a couple coldies, Have some Pinot Grigio if you like that. Man, I don't really drink much Pinot Grigio anymore these days. I used to drink a lot of that stuff. All right, that's it, everybody. Call a spade a spade. We'll talk to you next week.
The ending was terrific.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.